signatory to this document which we have on our hands, talking about this site analysis report on the remodeling of Mountain of Fire Miracles Church in Enugu. What can you tell us about this? Who set it up? Who did you submit these recommendations to? And what was it about?
Thank you very much. Hello? Thank you very much.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm the signatory to the document. The Commissioner for Capital Territory, Engineer Ike Wegede, set up a committee of professionals, which I represented town planning. We have the architects and we have the surveyors. So we came to the site, we inspected the site, and it told us to write our report.
I beg your pardon, Dr. Wanchuku, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Could you turn down the volume of your TV set? It's howling back at us, so that you could just make the conversation easier.
I'll turn it down.
Then go ahead.
Yeah. So the Commissioner for Capital Territory, Engineer Ike Wegede, set up a committee of professionals, which I was among. We have the architects and we have the surveyors and the town planner. So to take a look at the site and advise him. So I wrote my report based on what I observed. One, that the MFM are the legal owner of that land. Number two, that these are my findings. Number two, that the development is not contravened the plan regulation, because the land in question was given to them by the government, and the land lies beside Africa River, and by that fact, by the governor, it supersedes any other planning law, because the land lies beside Africa River. So you are giving a land that lies beside Africa River, about 1,000 meters from Africa River. So by that act by the government, it supersedes every planning law. So MFM cannot be held accountable for developing their land and lies beside Africa River. These are one of the issues that I in my report. Then I want to mention again that I studied the rainfall in Enugu for past 5 years, and it showed a consistent pattern. So the implication is that the future rainfall cannot have impact on that development. So I advise them that what the MFM should do is to build embankment and standard to prevent not erosion. So after looking at the whole process, this MFM is not contravened any law. But what I notice is that when the government has because I told that our recommendation were not followed. The Commission for Capital Territory did not follow our recommendation. I noticed that
Dr. Wanchuku, just hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me get in the Commissioner of Lands and Urban Development of Enugu State to just respond to what you said. Well, he, signatory to that report, did say here that, well, from his recommendation, from what he's seen, no law was being flouted here.
No, so all he was saying was that they were the legal occupants of the land, that they didn't contravene any laws. Well, I beg to differ.
Because I see what he writes here about the setback standard. The setback standard, he says a survey plan shows a distance of 10 meters from Asata River on the northern boundary. The church building has not contravened that setback, which is in line with the urban and regional planning standard and regulation. Then he moves on to the third aspect, which is the incidence of flooding. He says, quote, the location of the church building does not interfere with the flow of Asata River. It will not cause flooding and therefore does not pose any danger to the lives of the inhabitants of Enugu or the worshippers. An analysis of rainfall for the past 35 years shows that the annual rainfall has followed the same pattern in Enugu.
Okay, so I hope you still have him online. 15 meters is the minimum setback, minimum, from any water course. Their C of O is here. And the drawing, the proposed building, look at it in front of you, 2,786 square meters. They physically don't even have this size of land. And this was what was being submitted for approval. So
what do they have?
They have 2,086. So they were assuming an increased size of 700 square meters. They were clearly going into the river.
Dr. Machu,
the C of O is there. They bought the plots of land, 2 plots of land from certain individuals. The initial clause was for residential. They didn't apply for a change to include church building, church premises.
When they bought those 2 plots of land from certain individuals?
Yeah, it's residential. The initial purpose clause was residential.
But you approved your plans. The initial plan, which did not look like a residential building, was approved by the state government.
Yes. The initial plan was approved by the state government for the purpose of commercial. They didn't say it was a church.
And the government did not get to find out that it was a church?
When we got to find out and see, and we saw what was going on.
This was 15 years after, or thereabout. How many years exactly?
I don't have the dates, to be honest.
But it's about 15 years.
I can't.
You said the first one
No, they haven't been there for 15 years. I don't believe they've been there for 15 years. Because the C of O they have, the C of O was given to them in 2000. This was signed in 2009.
The C of O doesn't show when you occupied from the day.
Well, legally, you shouldn't even occupy anywhere without a C of O. This is their C of O.
Now, the thing is this. If you say that you finally give them a C of O in 2009 and they have been there for how many years that they have been there for, and you give them a C of O in 2009, and all that time you knew they were a church, because by 2009, one would believe that they were already a fully established church. At that point, you could have said, I'm not giving you a C of O because you have contravened the very reason why you said you wanted this land in the very first instance.
But that's the point. We've been writing them.
You've been writing them. I'm saying that you finally gave them a C of O in 2009, which you revoked in 2012 or 13 now?
So the C of O reads clause 1C. Purpose for which the land granted may be used, residential and commercial. A church does not fall within these boundaries.
What does a church fall into?
There's a specific clause, religious activities.
What clause is that?
Religious activities.
Because I know that most churches, for whatever reason, we know that controversy has also been on as to whether or not they should pay taxes because of what their C of O reads.
So in Enugu State, we have a clause, religious activities. So it's clear to everybody that this is a church.
I'm just surprised that you gave them a C of O even after you knew that this was not a commercial activity, that this was a church, practicing or doing religious activities. You still give them a C of O in 2009 when they had been there for a while.
So a church can apply for a C of O. They could use it as their headquarters. I don't have details of what they said they were going to use the premises for. So they are bound. They legally can apply for a C of O and be given, and we will stipulate the conditions for which we're giving.
What are you going to do now? Because right now the church is telling you, well, we're not averse to moving. You've taken your land.
Yep.
You've given us a new piece of land. We cannot access that land. It's a problematic land. They're saying, give us another one. Are you going to give them another piece of land?
So they're not asking for another piece of land. We certainly are not giving them another piece of land. The land we've given them, 4,000 square meters, is twice what they have.
You're not giving them another piece of land. Even if they have problems with that land, they should deal with it. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. They have no problems with it because they worshipped there 2 Sundays ago and last Sunday.
All right. And
so they have no problems.
And at the moment, there will be no compensation. Is that what you say?
Well, compensation is a different matter. If they write, we consider every case on its merits.
And if the court rules, the state has no choice but to obey the court.
Even
though they say this action was done in the pendency of the suit,
I don't believe that. Yes, I'm not aware of that.
Then Chukwuemeka Ojam is the Commissioner of Lands and Urban Development, Enugu State. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Very welcome.